Monica Harris thought her secret affair with young Indian immigrant Aarav Mehta would bring her excitement. But when her husband Ryan Harris uncovered the truth, their forbidden love ignited a chain of jealousy, obsession, and murder that turned Los Angeles into a city of tragedy. Monica Harris was the kind of woman who looked like she had life figured out. At 34, she had the dream home, a picture-perfect family, and a husband who made good money flipping properties around Los Angeles. Her friends envied her, her neighbors adored her, and her Instagram feed was full of sunsets, wine glasses, and smiling kids. But behind that camera-ready smile, Monica was quietly falling apart. Her husband Ryan had become distant, more interested in business calls than late-night talks or weekend getaways. Their marriage had slipped into autopilot, all routine and no romance. The house felt colder, the silence heavier. Monica spent nights staring at her phone, scrolling through social media and dating apps she'd downloaded just to look. She told herself it was harmless, a way to remind herself she was still attractive, still wanted. That's when she matched with Aarav Singh, a 24-year-old Indian immigrant living in downtown LA. He was everything Ryan wasn't: attentive, charming, and full of passion for life. Aarav worked as a barista by day and took classes at night, chasing his dream of becoming a filmmaker. His messages made Monica blush like a teenager again. Their conversations started innocent but quickly grew deeper, flirtier, more dangerous. She told herself it was just online fun, something she could control, but soon she was checking her phone every few minutes, waiting for his name to pop up. What began as curiosity turned into addiction, and what started as harmless flirtation was about to explode into a full-blown affair that would burn through every lie she'd built to protect her perfect little world. Monica had no idea she'd just opened a door that could never be closed, a door leading straight into tragedy. Their first meeting happened on a warm Friday afternoon in downtown Los Angeles, the kind of day when the city feels alive and reckless. Monica told her husband she was running errands, but her heart pounded as she walked into a small cafe off Sunset Boulevard. Aarav was already there, waiting by the window with that nervous smile she had only seen in pictures. He looked younger in person, full of life and sincerity, his accent soft but his eyes sharp and confident. What was supposed to be a quick coffee turned into a 2-hour conversation filled with laughter and stolen glances. For Monica, it felt like a switch flipped inside her. The thrill she'd been craving rushed through her veins like electricity. That day marked the beginning of their secret world. Soon, the cafe meetups turned into drives along the coast, cheap motels hidden off side streets, and late-night phone calls where they whispered about dreams and fears. Aarav became her escape, her antidote to boredom. He made her feel like a woman again, not just a mother or a wife. But as the affair deepened, Monica began to blur the lines between fantasy and reality. She'd lie to Ryan about spa days or charity events, sneaking out to meet Aarav whenever she could. The more lies she told, the easier it became. Aarav, meanwhile, was falling hard, imagining a future where Monica would leave her husband for him. He started talking about love, commitment, and building a life together. Monica laughed it off at first, but deep down she knew she was playing with fire. The thrill was intoxicating, but every secret meeting pushed her closer to disaster. What started as passion was slowly turning into obsession, and there was no going back. Ryan Harris had always been the kind of man who noticed details, a habit that made him successful in real estate and, ironically, the very thing that made him suspicious of his wife. He started picking up on things Monica thought she'd hidden well. New perfume she never wore for him, sudden late-night yoga sessions, phone calls she took in another room, and a softness in her tone that wasn't meant for him anymore. The small cracks in their marriage were becoming impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Aarav's infatuation with Monica was spiraling into something darker. He'd started showing up uninvited at places she mentioned casually, her gym, her favorite grocery store, even the park where she took morning walks. At first, she thought it was sweet, but soon it began to feel like he was watching her more than loving her. He wanted her attention constantly, calling when she didn't text back, asking who she was with, and demanding more time. Monica tried to juggle the two worlds, pretending everything was fine, but guilt was starting to crawl under her skin. Ryan's questions were becoming sharper, his tone colder, and Aarav's behavior more unpredictable. She could feel her double life closing in like a tightening noose. Then one evening, a neighbor mentioned to Ryan that she'd seen a young man sitting in a car across the street, watching their house for hours. Ryan brushed it off with a fake smile, but inside his suspicion exploded. That same night, he quietly checked Monica's phone while she slept, finding unfamiliar messages, hidden photos, and a name that made his blood run cold: Aarav. He didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, Ryan made a silent promise to uncover the truth himself. He just didn't realize how deadly that truth would turn out to be. Ryan's discovery flipped a switch inside him that he couldn't turn off. The photos and texts on Monica's phone confirmed what his gut had already screamed for weeks. His wife was cheating on him with a younger man. But instead of confronting her in a burst of anger, he played it smart, calm, and calculated. Years of business taught him that revenge is best served when no one sees it coming. He hired a private investigator, a retired cop with a reputation for digging up dirt quietly. Within days, Ryan had photos, grainy but clear enough, of Monica and Aarav together at a motel on the outskirts of the city, their bodies close, their faces lit with the kind of happiness that used to be his. The images burned into his mind like acid. He printed them, stared at them, and felt something inside him die. Monica, meanwhile, had no idea her husband was on to her. She carried on with her lies, believing her secrets were safe. Aarav, however, was growing restless. He wanted more than hotel rooms and hidden calls. He started pushing her to leave Ryan, talking about getting an apartment together, even showing her listings online. Monica panicked, realizing things had gone too far. She promised him she'd figure it out, but secretly planned to end it. Aarav didn't take rejection well. He became possessive, calling non-stop, sending jealous texts, accusing her of playing with his heart. The thrill that once made her feel alive now made her feel trapped. Ryan, cold and silent, waited for the right moment. He started tracking her movements, noting her lies, memorizing her routines. When he saw a message from Aarav arranging another meetup at the same motel, Ryan decided he wouldn't just watch this time. He would end it once and for all. The night of the confrontation began like any other, with Los Angeles glowing under the haze of city lights and Monica spinning another lie about dinner with a friend. Ryan watched her leave the house in a black dress he didn't recognize, her perfume lingering in the air like a warning. He followed her quietly, headlights off, keeping his distance as she drove toward the outskirts. She didn't notice the dark SUV trailing her all the way to the motel where her secrets lived. Ryan parked across the street, his heart pounding with a mix of rage and disbelief. From the shadows, he saw Aarav step out of his beat-up Honda, grinning like he owned the night, wrapping Monica in his arms without hesitation. That sight was enough to shatter what little restraint Ryan had left. He waited until they went inside before crossing the street, each step heavy with purpose. Inside the room, Monica and Aarav were oblivious to the storm outside. Ryan pushed open the door, his face pale, eyes hollow. The look on Monica's face was pure terror, shock, guilt, and fear all tangled together. Aarav jumped up, trying to speak, but Ryan wasn't listening. Months of betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak erupted all at once. The room turned into chaos, shouts, shoves, breaking glass. A single gunshot cracked through the walls, echoing into the night. When the noise faded, Monica was on the floor, motionless, her blood soaking into the motel carpet. Aarav was shaking, frozen between fear and grief as Ryan dropped the gun and stared at what he'd done. The rage drained from him, replaced by a chilling calm. He didn't run. He just stood there, breathing hard, while sirens wailed somewhere in the distance, signaling the end of everything he once knew. The sirens screamed through the night as police cars swarmed the shabby motel, lights flashing red and blue across cracked walls and faded signs. Ryan stood motionless, his hands trembling, the gun still warm in his grip as reality sank in like a slow, cruel wave. When the officers burst through the door, he didn't resist. He just looked down at Monica's body, whispering her name under his breath. Aarav sat in the corner, sobbing uncontrollably, his white shirt stained with blood that wasn't his. The scene was chaos. Paramedics rushing in, crime scene techs snapping photos, detectives barking orders. Ryan was cuffed, read his rights, and led out into the flashing lights, his neighbors' whispers already spreading like wildfire. News of the murder hit the media within hours. Real estate agent's wife found dead in motel, husband and young immigrant detained. Social media blew up with speculation, painting Ryan as a jealous monster and Aarav as the innocent lover. But Detective Carla Moreno, leading the case, wasn't quick to take sides. She dug into the evidence, piecing together the digital trail of texts, bank records, and security footage that told a story of passion, deceit, and desperation. Aarav's version was shaky. He claimed Ryan barged in, lost control, and pulled the trigger without warning. Ryan's story was colder. He admitted he followed Monica, but insisted the gun went off during a struggle. Still, the fingerprints, the bullet trajectory, and the absence of defensive wounds told a different tale. The courtroom buzzed with cameras and curiosity when the trial began weeks later. Ryan sat stone-faced, no remorse, no tears, while Aarav testified trembling, haunted by guilt. What started as a secret affair had spiraled into a headline tragedy, a love triangle that ended in blood and broken lives. The trial gripped Los Angeles like a storm, turning every news outlet and talk show into a frenzy of opinions, judgments, and conspiracy theories. Ryan Harris, once a respected real estate agent with a picture-perfect life, now sat behind a cold courtroom table, his expression unreadable, while the world dissected his every move. The prosecution painted him as a calculating husband who planned the murder down to the last second, following his wife, carrying the gun, and choosing a night when their kids were away. The defense tried to twist the narrative, claiming it was a crime of passion fueled by heartbreak and betrayal. Monica's sister took the stand, her tearful testimony breaking hearts across the room as she described the woman she'd lost, a mother of two who got caught in her own bad choices. Aarav, pale and shaken, faced Ryan for the first time since that night. His voice cracked as he described how love had turned into horror, how he'd watched Monica die before his eyes, powerless to stop it. The jury listened in silence, every detail sinking deep. When the verdict finally came, the tension was unbearable. Guilty of second-degree murder. Gasps rippled through the courtroom as Ryan closed his eyes, his shoulders finally sinking under the weight of what he'd done. The judge handed him 25 years in prison, no parole for 15. Aarav walked out a free man, but freedom didn't mean peace. The guilt clung to him like a shadow, haunting every corner of his life. In prison, Ryan became a ghost of himself, writing letters to his children that were never sent, replaying that night over and over. The world moved on, but the story stayed alive online. Another tragic reminder of how love, lies, and obsession can destroy everything when the truth finally explodes.